guys, so I'm back with another video, and this one is going to be quite amazing because this video is all about converting our fears into some kind of strengths, right? So because this is one of those quite a very unanswered point. A lot of people have so many fears inside them, and there is always a scope that is pulling you down. So what are we trying to do today in this video is to learn how to go about converting our fears into some strengths. Put up some basic things here because it's all about how you handle fear is something that is very important. So in that context, I would want to always discuss about something that I've always seen in people, right? What do we try to do when we have fear? See, I would first want to tell you that fear also is good, right? This is where I'm going to talk about a fact that fear is something that also helps us in some way or the other in coming up with challenges. So I always believe that this particular point, that healthy fear is always good. But again, as I say, healthy fear is good. I'm only talking about fear being healthy, because when it gets too much and it gets onto your head, and that's what is stopping you from doing things going further. So let me explain quickly about what is healthy fear. As what I feel is, see, in most aspects what we normally do is to take it for granted that there is nothing that is going to stop us. So if you've heard people say that, I'm not afraid of anything, or I'm completely have no fear, I don't think that either they're telling the 100% truth, or maybe it's sometimes to bring in that positivity for what to do, they are going about telling that. But you always have a little fear inside you, right? But you just don't want to bring it out, and you always cover it up thinking that it is going to take too much of your headspace. But I always believe that you have to give due weight to that little bit of fear that is there in you, and you should always make sure that you have that little amount of fear, because that is healthy and that is good. That stops you from doing the wrong thing. Because let's keep it very simple. Maybe it could be about anything. It could be about writing an exam. It could be about it could be as simple as going to the gym to reduce weight or pick up strength, or there are several things that people are afraid of. Some people are afraid of earning money, some people are afraid of not having money, some people are afraid of failing the exam, some people are afraid of falling from the vehicle. So you can have fear in various ways. So you have to always be one step above that, and also keep a little bit of very healthy fear. Because my success equation, right, when I rate success about something, I always had this equation in mind, which you see right now. What is the unique point here is what you see here, right? This has always been my equation. You do anything of it, I always keep a little bit of healthy fear in me. This is for a simple reason that always alerts me. It's not going to put me on the back step, but it's always going to alert me. 95% of hard work, I have heard people say that luck is the balance factor other than hard work. I believe that little bit of fear can actually bring you that luck. So having a healthy fear is absolutely good, but when that goes beyond the level of what we are normally thinking of, so it gets too much, and then what happens is it takes a lot of toll on our head. We are more afraid of doing things rather than actually even starting it all. So keeping it healthy, that is what I've been talking about now. So you always have to maintain that fear within a appropriate limit, so that wherein when you are talking about hard work, it all goes in the right direction, because you also have that fear which is directing you, saying that this is the right thing and go do about the right thing. So yeah, it is very important to maintain a certain level of this equation, because irrespective of what amount of hard work we put in, end of the day, when we can't channelize that hard work in the right direction, I don't think you're going to see the fruit of it. So if you want to see the fruit of it, right, it is always good to ask yourself a question that what if it doesn't happen? So what if can always create that little amount of fear. Now if you know that you're very confident about doing things, that what if will not actually create a big problem. But when you start asking too many what ifs, fear starts mounting more. So ask a requisite number of what ifs which are very relevant to the situation. Say, let's say for example, I'm writing an exam. what if I don't pass, can always give you several answers. Now those answers, yes, they do scare us a bit, but like I said, you want to keep them within that 5% limit. And when you are trying to do that, you always have back of the mind, you know, the negative possibility. But like I said, your confidence should boost up to the extent where that slight negativity will not take over your entire thought. So have a little bit of very healthy fear. So that is something that I've always suggested people to, and in this video also the very idea is to, I'm not telling that you got to completely get rid of fear, which I believe practically is impossible. See, fear is, I believe, absence of the strength. So when you don't feel strong about something, that's what creates fear. So as such, I don't believe that a concept called fear exists. For example, I've heard people say that the fear of darkness. Darkness is just absence of light, which is, I think there is a famous quote by Elon Musk also in this regard. So he was also afraid of darkness, and the fact that he realized as to why darkness arises is because of the absence of light. And then he thought that it's very silly to be afraid of something which is the absence of light. And then he also said in the very quote that he's never afraid of darkness ever after he got to know the reason. So that is exactly what I'm trying to tell you. Know the reasons for what your fears are and try and get answers to them, so that you can keep that fear in a well controlled level. And that control level, when it falls in my 5% slot, it actually turns to become your strength, because you know the repercussions of going wrong, and then that is when you will start building on how to not go wrong, and that is what becomes your strength later. So now you will channelize all of your hard work in making sure that things don't go wrong, because you already know what 5% can take you. I mean, like what is that 5% that takes this away from you? So you can pretty much focus on what it is and channelize your efforts in the direction. Obviously, I did tell you about what it is, but then most people ask this question on how to do it. How to do it? No, I also have a solution on how to do it, right? It is doing it repeatedly till you get that fear out, right? So I'll give you a very personal example of mine, wherein I was afraid of running on the treadmill in the past, right? Because I always had that fear that I might fall, or I can't run that fast, or I don't have that cardiac strength to run and all that, right? So this was something that my coach at that point of time taught me, saying that okay, you are afraid of running it, now let's do something. So what he did was to put me on treadmill, and then he used to put me on a relatively very low speed, so wherein all I had to do was to just walk slowly, like normally how I walked on the road. But then after a particular point of time, he did increase the speed without me noticing it. And then what he did was to slightly increase the speed continuously till a point where I had to run to match up the speed. And then I obviously had started running, and then it became a habit. And then he made me do this continuously for 3 weeks. This rule, there is a rule that says, there is a 21-day rule. When you practice something for 21 days, it actually becomes a habit. I will again exclusively do a video on this 21-day rule. But for now, you just have to understand that when you want to repeatedly do something, you just target doing it for 3 straight weeks. And when you know that you're doing it for 3 straight weeks, you are actually on it, and you will be able to see some kind of strength building in you with respect to the same thing, because now you're repeatedly doing this particular thing. If you go by the technical term, it is called an experience effect or a learning effect. So when you do the same thing repeatedly, it actually counts. Every single time that you do is an extra motivation for yourself that you're doing it better. Now I can run on speed 14 or 15 without even looking at, I'm not even conscious that I'm running at that speed. It is all, and I was the same guy who was afraid to walk on the treadmill at 4 or 5 speed. But it did take time, like I said, 3 weeks or 4 weeks. But then right now, that fear about falling from that, or now I don't even really worry that I'm running at that speed and I have to really concentrate on what I'm doing. I run so casually that I don't even have to really bother about. So it all takes a little amount of time and practice, which I say is in this case is 3 solid weeks. You do that 21-day rule, and when you have done it repeatedly, now if you're afraid of a particular chapter, take the chapter, start solving problems. If you're afraid of a particular topic, start taking the topic and deal with it. the very important factor, I picked this up from the internet for you, and which always says there is one option with fear which says forget everything and run, which I don't believe is a great equation to deal with. But when you say I also have an option 2 in this case, which says pay everything and rise, and I believe you've seen this so many times on the internet because these quotes keep coming, right? But what do we pick up from that? It's easy to read something on the internet, or it's easy to see an Instagram post or a YouTube video, right? But then bringing it in practice, so which is why I have this amazing technique of asking you to do it repeatedly. And when you do it repeatedly, all it takes is 21 days to change the habit. And once you have been into it and once you have changed it, all it needs is constant motivation after that to keep it in practice. That's it. In a few months of time or in a few days of time, all you will have is a solid strength in the same aspect which you were afraid about. So believe doing things repeatedly can help you understand the importance of actually doing it also. So in this context, keep it very simple, guys, and I want you to face everything and rise. So in this video, I believe that I've given you an insight on how you can convert your fears into strengths by doing them repeatedly and bringing that healthy fear factor in your success equation. So I will see you soon with another video wherein we will be coming up and talking about how you can change your habits in 21 days very soon, right? If you, obviously I have to say this because earlier I used to never, but now since this is my channel and I would obviously want to let people know that there is a great amount of content that's going to come, and which I believe is going to be beneficial for a lot of you. So I do, if you have liked the video, like it, and then of course comment on it saying that what future videos you would want to listen from me, and aspects that you want to listen from me in the next coming videos. And also do let others know about the channel, so you subscribe and also share so the other people subscribe. Thank you guys, I'll see you soon with another video.